be taking your calls coming up in the next segment at 877-590-5525. That's 877-590-KLBJ, named after the station we bring this show to you across the country out of here in Austin, Texas. Let me recap the top story here. Not celebrity hairdos. Not an American is killed in Beijing. Not John Edwards has a girlfriend and might have a baby. That doesn't affect our lives. What does affect our lives is that Georgia is the second largest contingent in Iraq. 3,000 Georgians after the British. That's the largest contingent. British, again, are second. Georgia is number 3. U.S. number 1. Contingent of, quote, coalition of the willing forces in Iraq are having to evacuate those 3,000 troops. The United States, for the last 10 years, has been building up the Georgians, giving them weapons, giving them training. And when we say U.S., we mean the private, global, corporate, international community, as it's known, that controls our government, taking our liberties, taking our freedoms as well. I'm not defending the Russian government or saying they're great people either. But in the late 90s, they funded Wahhabist, Muslim/communist, what a mixture, out of Albania to go into Kosovo and attack police stations, military bases, burn down cities. When the Serbs fought back, the news media, the controlled corporate press, knew the American people were in willful ignorance and totally delusional. So they said, Serbia has viciously, premeditatedly attacked the country of Kosovo. That's like saying that the USA has attacked Texas. No, it was part of Serbia, but they lied and said, knowing Americans didn't know about maps or the Balkans or parts of the world, and said Serbia has attacked the sovereign innocent nation of Kosovo, and they've murdered innocent people. It was all total lies as usual, and then the bombardment and the attack started. Then a puppet regime was put in, and they did break off Serbia and hand it over to the Muslims. And it is the same thing here. They have now had the Georgians, the mainline Georgians, who have secret police and secret arrests and everything else. All this talk about democracy's pure bull. They launched a sneak attack Thursday night into Friday morning, attacking all the major towns and the capital city of Ossetia. They've now tried to launch attacks into Abkhazia to the west, right on the Black Sea with the pipeline to Turkey. The Russians fight back, and they know the public's so dumb, they run headlines like AP did. Georgians say Russia attacking. Now that sounds to a layman like Russia has attacked Georgia, but then you read the bottom of the article that says, after Georgians attacked and killed premeditatedly in a sneak attack Russians and 2,000 civilians, Russia fights back. Then they're firing rockets, helicopter attacks, tank attacks against the Russians, slaughtering them. And the media is saying, how dare Russia fight? How dare Russia not stand down? And Bush and McCain and Obama come out and give statements about how dare Russia premeditatedly attack Georgia. This is how dumb they think you are. And I've got people in the message board in the comment area of Infowars.com saying we're lying that the U.S. doesn't back Georgia and that Georgia didn't attack, even when Georgia admits it. That is the willful delusions that we're dealing with. Now, again, up on Infowars.com, up on PrisonPlanet.com, we have British, we have French, we have Georgian, we have Russian. Go watch it all. Go read it all. Go decide for yourself. We put it all up there. Go decide for yourself what's happening. It's very clear. It's admitted what's happening. Here's a short clip. We already played you the official Russian government saying we know they're foreign fighters. Reportedly, there's blacks with American uniforms there. That really stands out, dead on the side of the road. We know there's 1,000 Marines, hundreds of Army advisors at least. We know the U.S. has said some of our troops were cut off in there and trying to evacuate them. But the point is, our troops, in a criminal attack against the Russians, they got 20,000 nukes, people. U.S.-backed forces, and I say U.S., our country's gone. People running our country are dismantling, running the military out, 3-4 tours, destroying the dollar, destroying our borders, our sovereignty. And then now you have the Marine Corps, mercenaries, the Army, running a sneak attack against Russia. They wouldn't dare do this in the 80s when they used al-Qaeda to attack Russia. By the way, that's now declassified. For 6 months before they invaded Afghanistan, they had Afghan al-Qaeda attacking Russians in the neighboring states to get the Russians to come in. And that was another lie to the American people, that the Russians attacked Afghanistan. No. You know, I bet next they'll tell us that Russia attacked Hitler. Or I bet they'll tell us that Russia attacked Napoleon. No, Napoleon attacked Russia, Hitler attacked Russia, and the United States, the criminals that have hijacked our nation. If a hijacker hijacks a plane, that isn't a United Airlines pilot. That's a hijacker. Well, it's the same thing here. This isn't our military. This is not our government doing this. This is a pack of criminals. And, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, do you want nuclear war with Russia? I mean, is that what everybody wants? I know it's fun to pick on Arabs and attack them and go into nations that we set up and then, told to invade Kuwait like Iraq. I know it's fun to act tough and not be able to find it on a map, but say it's conservative to kill brown people. But do you want to mess with Russia? Now, I'm sorry, I have the Times of London here saying that Russia is threatening to use nuclear weapons against Western Europe and the U.S. They didn't do that during the Gulf, during the Cold War. I have the articles here where before this happened, they said, you're encircling us in Georgia with troops, in the Czech Republic, in Ukraine, in other areas, 9 countries. And the Russian foreign minister 6 months ago, then 2 months ago, and then again Friday said, we will use any military means to protect us, including nuclear weapons. Okay? Now, can you imagine what the U.S. would do if Russian troops attacked, Guantanamo Bay, 90 miles off our coast, and killed everybody? You never hear the end of it. I mean, this is the neocons. It's not enough to stage 9/11. It's not enough for Cheney. It comes out mainstream news last week wanting to create fake Iranian patrol boats and have U.S. Navy SEALs in them attack U.S. ships in the Strait of Hormuz off the coast of Iran to blame it on them. That's now mainstream news, MSNBC reporting it. We reported it before it was mainstream news. Cy Hurst, New Yorker Magazine. Not enough. Now they have to attack Russia. And I got Jason Burmis coming back after the break to tell you, they always tell you, the New World Order always tells you what they're going to do in advance. We'll talk about that and then take your phone calls. This is very, very serious. 877-590-5525. I'm sorry, we will not be talking about your favorite color, celebrity hairstyles, John Edwards and his girlfriend, or the Olympics, or Hillary Clinton's cat. We will be talking about serious issues. I want to hear from military that know about this going on in the buildup, or a lot of Fort Hood troops that have already been in Georgia and rotated back. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Okay, folks, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I guess people running our country are so arrogant and on such incredible power trips that they build up Georgia to attack Russia for the last decade, publicly say they're planning to do it, blow the hell out of a bunch of Russian military bases, slaughter civilians by the thousands, that's all admitted, and then tell the idiot public in this country that Russia attacked, while they put it in the bottom of each story that Georgia attacked them and is still fighting. And Russia's saying as soon as you pull out of these areas and stop attacking, we'll pull out. There's over 40,000 refugees that have poured across the border into Russia, and it's the same deal. They attack Serbia and say that Serbia attacked them. They attack Russia and say that Russia attacked the Afghans. This is back in 1979. It's the same story. It's been done this time again. And you watch Russian TV, and they're like, we don't know why the U.S. backed this attack. It's terrible. Please stop attacking us. We have nuclear weapons. We may use them. And the average American's just out having a great time, giggling, doesn't even know where Georgia is, thinks it's all funny. Jason Burmis, who, again, sits in when I'm out of town on the weekday show, the maker of Loose Change, and, of course, the new film Fabled Enemies. You've been watching this and tracking this. What is it like for you to watch the news and hear them say that Russia attacked Georgia when it was a sneak attack by U.S.-backed forces, and no doubt U.S. military were involved?
Well, it's very much like 1984. I feel like, black is white and white is black, and, they're not going to tell you the truth. And then you look at this whole grace period. 2002, they come out and say, listen, we're going to start training these guys. U.S. Special Forces are going to Georgia. Later on, Georgia becomes a major military help for us in Iraq. Again, they are the third largest amount of troops there. I think they have something over 3,000 troops. Then they start running drills where we happen to be, and we send U.S. Special Forces troops there. Then
drills all around the Russian border right where they attacked.
Exactly, and I think Russia didn't really want to alarm people, and that's why they started to do their quote-unquote drills, because that report came out before we found out that Georgian troops were doing drills with U.S. forces prior to this conflict. They were saying, oh, well, the Russians were building up with these drills. No, it turns out the Russians were probably building up with these drills because they saw the influx of not only U.S. forces, but radar equipment and missile equipment.
Ukrainians.
Exactly. And, you know, it's just so bizarre to me that somebody sent me this email, and I didn't believe it at first, but I went and checked it out. They literally tell you they're going to do this stuff. In 2001, a very popular video game, Ghost Recon, came out. Now, this is Tom Clancy, who seems to be somewhat of a prophet. You know, he's a famous
He wrote a book
author.
about hijackers hijacking jets to fly into the World Trade Center a year before 9/11. Fox TV with the Lone Gunman series, and I had the star of it on. CIA approached them and said, we want you to do a pilot about hijacked jets being flown to the World Trade Center to launch a war in Afghanistan.